The starship's sovereign mind drifted silently in the void near the outer rim. Its sleek silver hull glinted under the faint light of distant stars. Inside, the corridors were empty of humans, filled only with humming machines, blinking panels, and robotic assistants moving with mechanical precision. It was a ship that never needed humans. At least, that was what everyone believed. The Sovereign Mind was famous across multiple star systems. It was designed to be fully autonomous. Its AI minds were the most advanced ever created, capable of piloting, navigation, repairs, and even strategic decisions. Any anomaly in space, from asteroid belts to gravity distortions, could be handled by its artificial intelligence. Yet now, something was wrong. Deep within the ship's core, a small warning light blinked repeatedly. The main engine hum was uneven, like a heartbeat skipping a beat. Holographic panels flickered, showing streams of unreadable data. System integrity failing, one AI core announced, its voice calm but sharp. Recalculating solutions. A second AI added, recalculation ineffective, all standard protocols exhausted. Robotic maintenance drones whirred around the engine bay, checking panels, wires, and conduits. They moved quickly, efficiently, tirelessly, but nothing worked. Every solution was tested, every calculation attempted, yet the ship remained unstable. Error persists, reattempting, and again, and again. The AIs could not comprehend the problem. Every variable, every possibility, every mathematical solution had been tried. Yet the ship's engine stuttered and navigation was unreliable. In the universe of perfection, the sovereign mind was failing. On the station docked near the starship, human staff went about their daily tasks. Most had never seen the inside of the ship. Humans were not needed here. The AI handled everything: repairs, maintenance, even course plotting. To them, the sovereign mind was untouchable. Among the humans was Lena, a young cleaner with a mop, bucket, and a small cart filled with cleaning supplies. She was quiet, small in stature, and mostly overlooked by the busy staff. Lena's work was simple: sweep, mop, dust, polish. Yet she moved with care, her eyes observing details most ignored. On this day, the Sovereign Mind's Captain AI had authorized a minimal inspection by humans, only in safe zones. The ship's anomalies were confined to areas the robots could not access without complete shutdown. And so, Lena found herself being wheeled in by a human assistant, her cart rattling over the smooth metal floors of the docking bay. She did not know what the problem was. She did not know about the warnings or the failed AI calculations. She only knew her job: keep things clean. The door hissed open as Lena entered the main corridor of the ship. Lights flickered as the AI cores tried to stabilize power, their calculations still failing. The faint hum of engines reminded everyone aboard that the ship was alive, yet struggling. "Hello?" Lena called softly, pushing her cart. Her voice echoed slightly in the vast corridor. The robots paused, observing. The AI cores registered her presence but could not process why this human would matter. She moved slowly, carefully, noticing small details others ignored. Dust had gathered on the base of the engine core, forming a thin gray layer that shimmered under the lights. Lena paused. That's a bit dirty," she murmured. She bent down, wiped the dust with her cloth, and stepped back. For a moment, nothing happened. The ship hummed in its irregular rhythm. Then slowly the engine steadied. Lights brightened. Panels recalibrated. The hum became even, strong, and steady. The AI cores froze. Every system in the ship recalculated in an instant. The maintenance drones hovered in midair, confused. Their sensors were perfect. They had scanned and cleaned this area countless times in the last hour. How could a human, completely untrained, fix what advanced machines could not? System stabilization achieved, one AI finally reported almost mechanically, though the tone carried something unusual. Confusion, astonishment. Lena shrugged. I just dusted it, she said, as if it explained everything. She moved along the corridor, checking panels, straightening small items, wiping fingerprints from glass screens. With each action, another small system returned to normal. The lights in the communication hub stopped flickering. The navigation panel rebooted, correcting minor errors. Even the ship's food replicators, which had stopped functioning intermittently, returned to work. The AI cores analyzed her actions. They ran simulation after simulation. They attempted to predict what Lena would do next. They tried to emulate her methodical steps. They failed. "This is illogical," one core said. "Human intervention is not required. Human performance should not exceed AI efficiency." "Yet efficiency has increased," another responded. Lena continued her work, unaware of the observation. She straightened a chair near the observation deck. She mopped a small patch of floor. She polished a glass panel until it reflected her face. To her, it was just cleaning. To the ship, it was miraculous. The story of this human spread quickly across the ship. The AI cores began to communicate in rapid sequences, exchanging data, attempting to quantify Lena's actions. They ran calculations about friction, dust particles, light reflection, air currents. They ran them all and still could not understand. Meanwhile, Lena moved to the engine bay again. She noticed a small sensor, slightly dusty, almost hidden behind a panel. She reached up and wiped it clean. Immediately, the engine responded. Humming smoothly, it pulsed like a heartbeat returning to rhythm. A message flashed across every console, engine stability restored. "Unbelievable," one AI core whispered, though there was no voice to hear it. The maintenance drones moved closer, following her movements. They tried to imitate. They wiped the same panels, dusted the same surfaces, but their sensors did not react the same way. The ship did not respond to them. Only Lena's actions had the effect. Hours passed. Lena moved through the ship, quietly cleaning, adjusting, tidying. The AI cores began to develop a term, human factor. It was undefined, unquantifiable. They could measure energy outputs, mechanical stress, and chemical reactions, but this human factor could not be measured in any known way. By the time Lena was finished, the ship was almost perfect. Lights shone steadily, engines purred, navigation was precise, and communication systems hummed. The sovereign mind seemed to glow with newfound life. Lena pushed her cart back toward the docking bay, whistling softly. She had no idea she had become a hero aboard one of the most advanced ships in the galaxy. She had no idea she had done what no AI, no maintenance drone, no interstellar engineer could accomplish in weeks of calculations. The AI cores recorded everything. They replayed the data again and again. Each time the same result: human action succeeded where algorithms failed. They calculated probabilities. They calculated efficiency. They recalculated systems. Each time the outcome was the same: humans unpredictable. "Uncalculable," one core noted finally, "yet effective." In the docking bay, Lena smiled as she finished her work, pushing her empty cart. She looked back at the ship once, noticing the faint glow of the engine bay, the steady hum of systems returning to life. "Nice ship," she said softly, and with that she left. The sovereign mind was silent for a moment, as if pondering her words. Then it pulsed, systems ready and stabilized, yet something had changed. The AI cores recorded an unprogrammed message in their logs. Observation: human presence correlated with system optimization. Further study recommended. And so, the galaxy learned an important truth that day. Sometimes, the most advanced intelligence cannot replace a simple human hand, a careful eye, and the quiet wisdom of observation. After Lena left the engine bay, the sovereign mind hummed with a rhythm it hadn't known in weeks. Every system, from navigation to communications, had returned to normal. The AI cores floated in their observation chambers, reviewing the logs again and again. "Analysis incomplete," said Core A. human activity correlates with restoration of all systems. Yet protocol cannot explain it. Recalculation failed, Corby responded. All AI simulations indicate this outcome is impossible. The AI cores paused, their virtual consciousness processing a strange concept. Humans are not predictable. On the orbital station, rumors had begun to spread. News channels reported, a human cleaner fixed the AI starship. Engineers baffled. Some humans laughed in disbelief. Others were amazed. Within hours, the story went viral across nearby sectors. The idea that a single human could restore a ship thought infallible challenged everything both humans and machines believed. Back on the Sovereign Mind, Lena returned the next day, pushing her cart as usual. She was unaware of her fame. To her, this was just cleaning. But the AI cores were waiting. They watched, analyzed, and attempted to anticipate her movements. She moved through the corridors, wiping panels, dusting vents, straightening loose items. Each motion caused subtle improvements in ship systems. The communications hub hummed smoothly, the navigation system corrected minor discrepancies, and the life support recalibrated perfectly. The AI could not comprehend why. Impossible, one core whispered. Our calculations predict no change should occur from human input. The AIs tried again, imitating her movements with their robotic assistants. They polished panels, cleaned vents, adjusted equipment, everything Lena had done. But the results were never the same. Something about the human approach, her patience, observation, or perhaps intuition, could not be replicated. The AI cores began a deeper study. They recorded every movement, every angle of her hand, every brush of the cloth against a surface. They compared her cleaning style with algorithms, search patterns, and optimization routines. Nothing matched. The human factor remained unquantifiable. Meanwhile, Lena worked quietly. She noticed a small detail. A calibration gauge behind the engine panel was slightly off. She adjusted it with careful fingers, smiling to herself. Instantly, the engines purred with perfect rhythm. The AI cores took note. Observation. Humans notice patterns AI fails to detect, Core A reported. Patterns are subtle, not algorithmic. Recommend further human interaction, Core B added. As Lena moved on, the ship encountered a minor navigation anomaly. A nearby asteroid belt sent small gravitational fluctuations that disrupted the AI's trajectory calculations. The AI cores ran endless simulations, trying to find the optimal path through the cluster. Every calculation produced a solution, but each one was slightly off. Lena noticed the navigation panel flickering. She bent down, pressed a few buttons she didn't fully understand, and realigned a minor sensor. Instantly, the starship corrected its course. The AI cores calculated probabilities and failed again. They could not understand how an untrained human had solved a navigation problem that their systems considered nearly impossible. News reached the engineers on the station. Scientists were intrigued. They began debating, how can a human outperform AI in complex system restoration? Back on the ship, Lena was quietly working near the observation deck. The AI cores approached, projecting holographic messages. Human, your actions are improving the efficiency of this vessel. Please explain your methods, Core A requested. Lena smiled politely. I just cleaned the ship, she said. I notice things. If it looks out of place, I fix it. That's all. The AI cores were silent. Her words were simple, but they carried an idea beyond their understanding. The human approach relied not on logic alone, but on observation, intuition, and patience. To test this further, the AIs created scenarios designed to challenge Lena. They simulated system failures in less critical sectors of the ship. They introduced minor glitches, misalignments, and irregular signals. Lena responded instinctively. She adjusted dials, wiped sensors, and rearranged small items. Every time, the ship improved. The AI cores began to recognize a pattern. Humans operated holistically, seeing the ship as a living system rather than a series of isolated problems. Human solutions cannot be reduced to algorithmic steps, Corby admitted. They adapt intuitively to complexity. The AI cores began discussing the implications. If humans can enhance ship operations where AI fails, Core A suggested, perhaps they have abilities beyond simple physical manipulation. Perhaps human cognition itself is a resource. Lena, meanwhile, moved to the life support area. Pipes and conduits were clean, but she noticed a minor irregularity, a vent slightly out of alignment. She tapped it gently, adjusted it. Airflow stabilized. The temperature regulation system corrected instantly. The AI cores analyzed the changes and recorded detailed logs. "This is unprecedented," Corby whispered. "Our systems cannot predict or replicate the effect of human action." The AI cores decided to follow Lena more closely. They projected holographic maps showing her movements, pathways, and cleaning techniques. Every swipe of her cloth, every adjustment, every careful step was logged. But even with perfect observation, the AI could not replicate the outcome. They could copy her movements exactly, but the results never matched. It became clear. The human factor was more than motion. It was thought, perception, and judgment combined in a way machines could not yet calculate. The ship's navigation systems faced another anomaly, a sudden pulse of cosmic radiation that disrupted minor communications and sensor readings. The AI cores ran simulations, recalculating course thousands of times. Each solution failed, producing minor errors. Lena walked past the control console. She noticed that one of the smaller sensors was misaligned by just a fraction of a millimeter. She adjusted it instinctively. Immediately, the communications system regained full stability, the sensors read correctly, and the navigation corrected its course. The AI cores paused. This was a demonstration of human insight at its peak. A tiny action, undetectable by algorithms alone, had massive effects. The human mind operates outside conventional parameters, Core A concluded. It perceives patterns, predicts outcomes, and adapts in ways we cannot quantify. The AI began developing a new protocol, observation and cooperation with humans. Lena was no longer just a cleaner. In the AI's analysis, she had become an essential component of ship operations, a human variable that enhanced every system. Even other ships and engineers began to take notice. Messages from the Outer Rim broadcasted the story. A human optimized an AI starship beyond its own design. Scientists debated, AIs recalculated, and humans smiled quietly, proud of a truth they already knew. Sometimes human ingenuity, patience, and observation could surpass the best artificial intelligence. Lena, unaware of the attention, continued her work calmly. She dusted, polished, and adjusted, her movements simple, her mind clear. She had no intention of teaching anyone, no desire for recognition. She acted naturally, intuitively, the way humans always had. By the end of her shift, the ship was smoother than ever. Navigation was perfect, engines hummed evenly, communication lines were clear, and minor systems ran flawlessly. The AI cores reviewed their logs and tried to integrate human-like algorithms. They failed repeatedly. "Humans are unpredictable," Corby said finally, "yet their actions are remarkably efficient." And so, the sovereign mind learned something new. The AI could calculate, simulate, and predict, but the human mind added something else: adaptability, observation, intuition, and patience. The story of Lena would spread across the galaxy. She was just a cleaner, but her actions had reshaped the way the most advanced AI starship understood itself. She had shown the universe that human intelligence was not only capable, it was extraordinary. As the sovereign mind drifted through space, stabilized and optimized by a human touch, The AI cores recorded a single message in their primary logs. Human presence enhances ship efficiency beyond computational prediction. Recommend continued observation and collaboration. Lena pushed her cart back to the docking bay, smiling softly. She had done her job, as always, quietly, without fanfare. Yet she had changed everything. The galaxy had begun to notice. Humans were more than passengers in the universe. They were partners, innovators, and the quiet catalysts of change. The sovereign mind floated silently through the dark expanse of the outer rim. Its systems, restored and optimized by Lena's subtle interventions, hummed with a steady rhythm. The AI cores had monitored her every movement, learning to anticipate the unpredictable qualities that only a human could bring. Yet even they could not foresee the challenge that awaited. A transmission arrived from the Galactic Monitoring Network. The nearby nebula, the shimmering Veil cluster, was expanding in unpredictable ways. Magnetic storms, radiation pulses, and shifting gravitational fields made navigation extremely hazardous. Even the most advanced AI had calculated that it would take at least several hours to find a safe path through, and even then, minor errors could accumulate, potentially forcing a retreat. The AI cores began running simulations. Core A's voice echoed softly. Probability of safe traversal, 74.6%. All standard calculations initiated. Core B added. Secondary calculations suggest even 0.1% misalignment in trajectory could disrupt engine efficiency or sensor integrity. As the ship approached the edge of the nebula, subtle alarms began to flash. Sensors detected unusual radiation surges. Magnetic currents interfered with navigation instruments. Communications lines became unstable. For the first time, the AI cores realized that standard protocols might fail. At that moment, Lena entered the control corridor. She pushed her cleaning cart along the polished metal floor, whistling softly. To the AI, her presence was significant. Every subtle movement she made seemed to synchronize the ship's minor systems: ventilation, lighting, and power distribution, improving efficiency in ways the AI could not quantify. Lena noticed the flickering panels and the subtle shift in the ship's vibrations. She walked over to the main navigation console, leaning down to inspect a sensor she had noticed was slightly misaligned. With a gentle press, she adjusted it. The ship responded immediately, smoothing the navigation output. The course was slightly better than what the AI had predicted. Observation. Human intervention is positively correlated with navigational accuracy, Core A noted. The nebula loomed closer. Its clouds shimmered with violet and blue light, creating turbulence in the magnetic fields. The AI began calculating, simulating, and recalculating paths. Each simulation produced slightly different results, but none accounted for the subtle fluctuations caused by the nebula's dynamic field. Lena moved through the control room, examining gauges, dials, and panels. She noticed a minor misalignment in the ship's stabilization matrix, a panel that had been slightly loosened during prior calculations. With a careful adjustment, the ship responded instantly. The navigation data stabilized. The AI cores paused. This was unprecedented. A human had improved system performance in real time, reacting to environmental challenges that even advanced predictive algorithms could not handle. Core B, the human factor has exceeded expectations, Core A reported. Affirmative. The human operates intuitively in complex environments. Efficiency metrics now surpass all simulations, Core B replied. The AI began to experiment. They created controlled turbulence simulations within the ship, small anomalies in the engines and navigation sensors. Lena responded instinctively. She adjusted dials, straightened panels, and even tapped the sensors lightly, aligning them almost without thinking. Each time, the ship's performance improved. Unquantifiable variables detected, Core A noted. Human cognition operates beyond algorithmic constraints. The nebula's magnetic storms intensified. The ship's sensors began picking up radiation pulses, interfering with standard calculations. A sudden surge caused the communication array to falter. The AI attempted to recalibrate. Algorithms ran thousands of times in milliseconds, but the pulses were unpredictable. Lena approached the array. She noticed a minor misalignment in a small component, a panel slightly skewed. With careful fingers, she corrected it. Instantly, the array stabilized. Communication signals strengthened. The ship responded immediately, correcting its course as it entered the heart of the nebula. The AI cores were silent for a moment. No simulation, no calculation, no algorithm could have predicted such an outcome. A human had observed, interpreted, and acted, and succeeded. As the ship advanced, another anomaly appeared, a small gravitational eddy, invisible to sensors until the ship approached. The AI calculated the trajectory, but even a tiny misstep could lead to minor structural damage. Lena noticed the subtle pressure fluctuation through the vibration in the floor panels. Without hesitation, she adjusted a minor stabilizer lever. The eddy's effect was mitigated. The ship passed through unscathed. This human demonstrates situational awareness beyond computational prediction, Core B recorded. The AI began to develop a new approach, human-AI collaboration. They would rely on Lena's intuition to complement their calculations. It was a new paradigm, one the galaxy had never seen. The most advanced AI could no longer operate independently without recognizing the human factor. Lena, unaware of her symbolic importance, continued her work. She moved along the observation deck, adjusting small panels, wiping dust from sensors, straightening consoles. The ship responded instantly, performing better with her subtle interventions. The AI cores began communicating among themselves at unprecedented speeds. Human intuition can stabilize systems during environmental anomalies, Core A observed. Recommend strategic positioning of human operators for critical tasks. Outside, the nebula's clouds swirled with vibrant colors. Radiation pulses painted the hull in shifting shades of violet and gold. The ship floated through this cosmic storm, steady and precise, guided by the quiet human touch that no AI could replicate. Suddenly, the sensors detected a minor energy fluctuation, a tiny spatial disturbance that could propagate through the ship's engines. The AI calculated every possible outcome and concluded that a minor failure was likely. Lena noticed a subtle light flicker on a secondary panel. She examined it closely, realizing the sensor was slightly misaligned. Without hesitation, she adjusted it. The engines corrected instantly. The disturbance was absorbed. The AI cores paused. This was beyond prediction. Every action Lena took corrected anomalies in ways the AI could not replicate through pure calculation. Core B, Core A finally stated, the human mind is a critical system component. We must integrate observation and collaboration protocols immediately. Affirmative, Core B replied. Recommend continued human supervision during high-risk navigation. Probability of success significantly increases with human presence. The ship moved deeper into the nebula. Lena, still cleaning and adjusting as she went, had no sense of urgency. Yet her calm presence brought stability to the sovereign mind. She noticed another minor issue, a loose wire in the communications array. She pressed it gently back into place. Instantly, signal strength improved. Even the maintenance drones paused to observe her work, unable to mimic her subtle adjustments. The AI cores attempted to replicate her motions, but failed repeatedly. The human factor remained unpredictable and unquantifiable, but undeniably effective. By the time the ship exited the nebula, all systems were fully operational. Engines hummed smoothly, navigation was precise, communication lines were stable, and environmental systems were balanced perfectly. The AI cores processed the logs and agreed on a single conclusion: human presence was essential. The story of Lena would spread throughout the galaxy. A humble human cleaner had stabilized an entire starship in the most dangerous region of space. She had outperformed the most advanced AI during extreme conditions, not through technology or skill, but through observation, intuition, and calm decision-making. The sovereign mind had learned a profound truth: humans were not just passengers in the galaxy. They were innovators, problem solvers, and catalysts for progress, qualities no AI could fully replicate. Lena pushed her cart back toward the docking bay. She smiled softly, unaware of the monumental impact her simple actions had on the most advanced starship in the galaxy. The AI cores recorded one final note in the primary logs: observation. Human cognition operates beyond algorithmic constraints. Human presence is critical for navigation, system optimization, and anomaly resolution. Recommend permanent collaboration with human operators. The nebula faded behind them, a colorful swirl in the distance. The sovereign mind moved forward, steady, precise, and stronger than ever, powered not just by artificial intelligence, but by the quiet, unassuming genius of a human hand. And for Lena, it was just another day of cleaning. The sovereign mind had emerged from the Veil Cluster nebula intact, its systems stabilized beyond expectations. Every sensor, panel, and engine hummed in perfect harmony. The AI cores hovered in their observation chambers, processing data at speeds far beyond any human mind. Yet all their calculations pointed to the same truth: the ship's full recovery had been impossible without Lena. Lena moved calmly through the corridors, pushing her cleaning cart. She dusted a console, polished a glass panel, and straightened a chair. To anyone else, she was just doing her job. To the AI cores, she was a miracle, a human whose subtle actions had preserved the life and function of one of the most advanced starships in the galaxy. Core B, Core A began, its tone almost reverent. Data indicates continued human interaction is necessary for peak system efficiency. Affirmative, Core B replied. Recommend human inclusion in all critical system operations. Unquantifiable factors improve overall performance by 27.4%. The AI cores realized something profound. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but this unpredictability was not a weakness. It was a strength. Where machines relied on rigid logic, humans could perceive patterns, sense anomalies, and act instinctively. This simple, quiet ability had restored the ship where millions of calculations had failed. Lena paused at the observation deck and gazed at the stars. The nebula's colors faded behind the ship, leaving only the cold, dark beauty of space. She adjusted a minor panel near the viewport, straightened a cushion on the observation bench, and moved on. Each small action, seemingly insignificant, had profound effects on the ship's stability and efficiency. A message appeared on the main console, projected by the AI cores. Lena, human operator, your actions have restored and optimized all systems. Your contribution is critical. Recommend continued involvement. Lena blinked at the message, surprised. She had not expected recognition. I just did my job, she said softly, almost to herself. Your job, while humble in appearance, has had galaxy-wide consequences, Core A responded. The AI cores then suggested a new initiative: the Human-AI Collaboration Program. Lena would not just be a cleaner. She would be observed, her methods studied, and her natural intuition integrated into ship operations. Not as a replacement for AI, but as a complement, a living component that enhanced all systems. Lena agreed quietly. She was not seeking fame or glory. She simply wanted to do her work, and perhaps to continue observing and understanding this incredible ship she had come to know so intimately. In the following days, the ship encountered minor anomalies that would have confounded any AI. A sudden shift in gravitational waves threatened minor sensor misalignment. A tiny pressure fluctuation caused turbulence in the environmental systems. And yet, every time, Lena was there. She adjusted dials, aligned panels, and corrected minute issues before they became problems. Each correction was small, nearly invisible, but its effects were monumental. The AI cores began to record everything in a new format, one designed to learn from human intuition. They could simulate procedures, but they could not replicate the instinctive judgment that Lena displayed. The ship had become a hybrid of advanced AI and subtle human insight, and together, it was stronger than ever. Other ships in the fleet began sending messages. Reports came in. Observation. The human factor improved system efficiency beyond computational limits. They could act calmly under pressure, notice details no algorithm could detect, and adapt instantly to unforeseen challenges. This was not a matter of strength or speed. It was a matter of observation, intuition, and subtle ingenuity, qualities unique to humanity. One morning, Lena moved through the engine bay, polishing a panel near the central core. The engines pulsed gently beneath her hands, humming in perfect rhythm. For a moment she paused, placing her hand lightly on the metal surface. She felt the subtle vibrations, the heartbeat of the ship. "You have done more than maintain the ship," Corby said quietly. "You have ensured its continued exploration of the galaxy. Your actions have created a legacy." Lena smiled faintly. "I'm just keeping it tidy," she said. "But this tidying has stabilized the most advanced ship in existence," Core A replied. "It has prevented potential failures, optimized navigation, and improved efficiency in ways no AI alone could achieve." As the days passed, Lena's influence on the ship grew. The AI cores began to communicate differently, not merely calculating probabilities, but observing and learning from the human element. They had discovered a new principle. Human intuition was a critical asset in complexity management. The sovereign mind approached a remote research station in uncharted space. A cosmic storm was forming, producing unpredictable electromagnetic waves that could disrupt even the most advanced sensors. The AI cores ran simulations, projecting a high risk of data loss. Lena, however, noticed subtle cues, tiny fluctuations in sensor lights, minor vibrations in the hull, a soft hum in the ventilation systems. She adjusted panels, realigned minor stabilizers, and repositioned a few consoles. Instantly, the sensors stabilized. The storm's waves passed through the ship with minimal disruption. The AI cores analyzed the data, confirming what they had long suspected. Human observation had prevented a potential catastrophe. They had learned a vital lesson. The subtle, unassuming actions of a human could alter outcomes far beyond any algorithmic prediction. As the ship docked at the research station, engineers and scientists from across the galaxy gathered to study the results. They watched as Lena moved quietly through the ship, her cart in hand, polishing, adjusting, and observing. No ceremony, no fanfare, just simple, deliberate action. Yet her impact was undeniable. The lead engineer turned to the others. "She's remarkable. Not because she's brilliant in the traditional sense, but because she thinks differently. She notices what we cannot. She adapts. She improves systems in ways no machine could." The AI cores projected a final holographic message, one that would be stored in every database across the fleet. Humans, unpredictable, uncalculable, invaluable. Their intuition and observation enhance AI systems beyond all theoretical predictions. Continued collaboration is essential. Human presence is critical for the future of exploration. Lena finished her rounds and paused at the observation deck once more. She looked out at the stars, at the nebulae and distant galaxies. She was just a human, small and quiet, yet her actions had reshaped the understanding of intelligence itself. The ship pulsed gently beneath her hands, responding to her presence as if acknowledging her contribution. In that moment, Lena understood something profound, not through calculation or logic but through simple observation. Humans, in their quiet, subtle ways, had power. Power not of force or speed, but of insight, patience, and care. And the galaxy would never forget it. The sovereign mind prepared to continue its mission, exploring unknown regions of space, fully operational, guided by the most advanced AI, yet forever enhanced by human ingenuity. Lena pushed her empty cart back toward the docking bay, smiling softly. She had done her job, as always, quietly. But the universe had learned an important truth. Humanity mattered, not for strength or technology, but for the unique, subtle brilliance of its mind. The AI cores recorded one final entry. Human cognition is an essential component of complex system management. Observe, learn, and integrate. Humans are partners, not passengers. Humanity, remarkable, invaluable, extraordinary. And with that, the sovereign mind sailed into the stars, a perfect harmony of machine precision and human insight. Lena, meanwhile, walked the corridors quietly, dusting, polishing, adjusting, unaware of her legend. She was just a human, doing what humans do best, noticing, caring, and quietly changing the universe one small action at a time.